Hey guys, today we're going to start on the Doc 8 customer survey. And what a customer survey is when you go to a business or a restaurant, they might have a card or a flyer on the table or by the counter, and it'll have questions on how you felt about visiting the place. Was the service good? Were the bathrooms clean? That sort of thing. Okay. So Slater Farms, the business that we've been using, they are creating a survey that they're going to pass out at the farmers market to get some feedback from the customers. All right. So your job today is to create this customer survey. So to get started, let's go to our Google Classroom page and make sure that you've signed in. Okay. And there's a few ways we can do this assignment. You could follow the book. All right. You could come into the Zoom room or you can continue watching this video. So whatever works for you, this is due today. So what I've done is I went ahead and typed all the questions for you and the information on the survey for you, because it would probably take you 2 days to type it and it took me 10 minutes. All right. So you're not going to learn anything by typing. What we're going to learn today is how to set this up in a way that looks professional. We're going to learn how to create columns, and we're also going to learn today how to create custom bullets. Okay. So there are your goals for today. The goal is create columns and custom bullets. All right. So let's get started. Again, I've already typed this for you. The logo is already on there. You guys know how to do all that. You know how to type. So let's get right to work. First things first, go to File, as always, make a copy, and put your first name in front of the file name. Excuse me. All right, and we're ready to get to work. Okay, so the instructions are on the first page down at the bottom. We are starting at number 11 because I already typed in all 1 through 10 for you. So we're picking it up at number 11 here. And it's also, I made it, I typed it out in Google Classroom just because it was easier to read, I thought. So you can look at it at the book or you can look at it in Google Classroom. Either way, doesn't matter. Or you could just watch this video. So the first thing that they want you to do, number 11, is bold and italicize each question, but notice it says not the answer. So bold and italicize each question, not the answers. So we're going to go and we're looking for these questions. So the questions are numbered 1 through 10. I'm going to highlight the question and the number, and we're going to pick the bold button and the italic button. Okay. You could also, when you highlight this, hit Control B, and that'll make it bold, and Control I, and that'll make it italic. I like hitting the buttons. You do what works for you. All right. So we're going to go through the 10 questions, bold and italic, all the way through. So if you want to stop this video and do that and then come back to it, that's up to you. Again, I'll be going over this in the Zoom room together. Okay. And finally, number 10. All right, at this point, I want you to go up and share your document with me, okay? So if you share it with me, that way I can take a look. I have my other screen going on, and I can see how you are all doing and if you got it right. And you can continue to work, but it's just a way for me to, as I always do, watch what you're doing. All right. So now, what is the next instruction? We got that all bold and italic. We're going to go to number 12. Using the columns feature, select just the questions along with their answers and format into 2 columns. So we're not doing the introductory paragraph, and we're not doing the comment section at the bottom. We're just doing the questions and the answers. And this is where we're going to learn how to create columns. All right. So again, we're highlighting just the questions and the answers, not the top, not this up here, just the questions and the answers. And we're going to come down towards the bottom, and we're going to stop right before the additional comment. So right there at the 55 plus. Okay, now we're going to keep that highlighted. And this is so easy. Watch, we're going to go up to Format, pick on that, go to Columns, and pick 2 columns. Now watch what happens when you pick 2 columns. See how it went? Now it's all on one page. Let's go back a minute. I want to show you something. Before we did that, this was on 2 pages. So what they would have to do is either print it double-sided, so it's on the front and the back, so the customers might not realize that there's more questions on the back and we might not get all the feedback that we want, or they would staple 2 pages together, and now the customer is in the farmer's market trying to switch papers around and hold their bags. And you want to make it as easy as possible for the customer, and you want to make sure that you get all your questions answered. So we're just going to get everything on one page. So that's why we're making this particular thing all on one page. All right, so again, I went to Format, Columns, and I picked the 2 columns. So notice now we have everything on one side on one page. Okay, now if you see down here, we have an extra page. That's just because there's some extra space down there. So we're going to get rid of that extra space by picking or putting our cursor here, and we're just going to hit delete. All right, because apparently there was an extra line down there, and we don't want the printer wasting, paper coming out or whatever. You want everything on one page. If you notice here, see how this is kind of closer to the edge than our work normally is? When I first did this assignment, and this happened when I did it in Word and when I did it in Google Docs, I had to change the margins, okay? And I made the margins, usually they're like a ½ inch, whatever. I brought them over to give us a little more space, and that helped us fit it all in one page. So if you're working on an assignment, say you're doing an essay, and you're printing it out, and you have maybe 3 or 4 sentences go to the next page, and you think it would look nicer if you had it all on one page, you just adjust the margins. We did that a couple of weeks ago, and we just adjust them, bring them out a little tighter to the edge. You never want to come right to the edge, but we can make this space a little smaller, and what that does is it gives you more space for your text. All right. So anyway, let's get back to this. We created 2 columns here. Notice these don't line up. I'm just going to put my cursor here and hit delete, and that will bring that up and line it up. And now it really looks professional. All right, look at that. Now, see the questions here? How's the customer going to tell us which one they want? They could circle it, but that might get a little sloppy. But let's jazz it up a little. We're going to highlight this, and we're going to go to bullets. Now, if I just pick regular bullets, we get these dots, right? So I don't want that. What I want are these custom bullets, and I'm going to open up this box. Whenever you see the triangle, that means there's a little more to it. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to come over here and see these shaded boxes. I'm going to pick those. Check it out. Boom. There we go. So now that looks really cool. We're going to do that for all of the answers so that the customer has a place to just put a little check mark. All right, so we're going to go through all the 10 questions, and we're going to put the custom boxes. So now you've done your columns and you've done your custom bullets. And how easy was that? All right. So make sure you're paying attention to what you're picking. Take your time, do it right. And we got that. And like I said, just take your time. Make sure you're selecting the right things. We're picking the answers. We're opening up the bulleted list with the custom bullets. And we're doing that. All right, at this point, if you haven't shared with me, share again, or not share again, but share with me. All right, so we're taking a look at this. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go back to the instructions and just make sure I got everything. So yes, bold and italic each question. We created a column, and we did that by going to the Format tab, opening up columns and going over and picking two. We adjusted the columns with a hard column break. So what that meant was, you remember that one question wasn't lined up with the other one, and we hit the delete key and lined those up. If we had a case like, let's say this one here, if for some reason we had this so that this question had an answer that was like hanging out up here, you don't want that. So we would either keep hitting enter and push that question over up into the next column like that, or we would just get rid of the space that we have here and have it all together. See what I mean is, like, for question number 4, these are the 5 answers. You want to make sure that these are all together. You don't want half of your answers over in the other column. It doesn't look good. So now I'm looking at it. I'm thinking that looks pretty good. Everything's lined up. The instructions don't tell me to bold this, but I'm going to, because I just think it'll look better if we do it, don't you? So let's do that. Okay, now notice at the bottom, we did not include this in the columns. Okay, we're just going to leave that because let's say if somebody was typing this, for example, if we put this on our website and had the people filled out, they could just type in the answer and it would go across like that. Also, if we had put this in the columns, this additional column, additional comments would have added a extra piece up here in the columns, and it would have been weird to write their comments up here. So we want the comments down at the bottom, so we did not include them when we selected the items that would go into the 2 columns. All right, I hope that makes sense. So again, we have our heading, we have our introductory paragraph, we have each question bold and italic, we have custom boxes for our bullet points for the customer to just put a check in, and then we have a space down here for them to write any additional comments. Okay, we made it all on one page so that it looks professional. You shared it with me so I can check it out. Then you're going to go and submit it. But let's just make sure that we got everything, and we do. Okay, so if you have any questions, give me a holler. Like I said, we're in Zoom together here. If for some reason you weren't in class today, you can just open up this video and you should be able to do it just fine. All right, so the reason that we're doing this survey, just so you know, this is not just something that we're just typing up, that I typed up. You're welcome. We are going to use this survey when we start doing Google Sheets in a couple of weeks. We're going to take the, say 100 people answered the survey. We are going to see how many of them learned about Slater Farms through the newspaper, for example, and how many learned from the radio. So let's say 60% saw that in the newspaper, and that's what they checked off. So when we do Google Sheets in a couple of weeks, we're going to take the information that we got from this survey, and then we're going to analyze it when we put it into the Google Sheet. All right, so we're going to tie this project to another project in a couple of weeks. So it's important that you finish this, that you get it done, so it makes sense to you when we do the other project in Sheets. All right, so I hope that helped, and if you have any questions, let me know.